Welcome everyone to this conversation, No Homo, No Hetero, Sexual Fluidity and Manhood in Black America. We are going to be talking, the creators are going to be talking about No Homo, No Hetero, Sexual Fluidity and Manhood in Black America.
Gotta mute that.
Whoever's doing that, I gotta mute that. Cool. All right, so we're going to be talking about the film and the campaign, and answering questions, responding to comments that our great backers, contributors have for us this morning. So my name is Herukhuti. I am one of the executive producers and co-director.
Hello, everybody. I am David J Cork. I'm an actor, screenwriter, now becoming an activist, and I am the other co-producer and executive director for this project as well.
And hello, my name is Glenn Quentin. I'm one of the producers on this project, and writer and actor.
So why don't we each start with talking about why we're involved. And to begin, I'll frame what the documentary film is. From my perspective, the documentary film is a love letter to Black community. It is an attempt to address and heal a stark division within Black communities with regard to Black men who are sexually fluid. It's a way to repair some traumas due to media stereotyping of Black sexually fluid men.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, great. So for me, this documentary is here to create a safe space for fluid Black men. Oftentimes, there's no place for us to learn about ourselves. There's no place for us to speak freely or comfortably. And I'm hoping that this documentary can start that conversation so that people can feel free to be themselves 100%.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on what both Haru and David spoke about, giving for a space for Black men to sort of just figure things out for themselves and know that there's just not one option, that they have a litany of things that they can be and express themselves.
We've been managing, running, organizing a crowdfunding campaign for the last 45 days. And that campaign ends actually this Wednesday, December 20th. So we would definitely like to tell people about the campaign and what the campaign is going to be funding. So David, why don't you talk to us about those aspects?
Yeah, so right now we're looking to have this conversation be filmed in 3 different locations, one of those being in Atlanta, one being in Los Angeles, and another one here in New York City. Each one of those, more particularly the ones in Atlanta and Los Angeles, are going to be conversations with fluid Black men. The ones in here in New York, we're going to try to focus more on the connections that these Black men have had. So them in relationships, things like that. So some of the funding does go towards us flying to these different locations so that we can, film. Also going towards our equipment, and it's also going towards some music and title tracks as well. Take it away, Glenn.
You answered that question pretty well.
Oh, thank you. I thought I did okay.
I think you hit it on the nail.
I thought I did pretty well.
Glenn, why don't you talk to us about what the challenges of producing this kind of project? What are some of the things that need to get done, the nitty-gritty logistics of doing a film project like this?
Nitty-gritty is just reaching out to all of the individuals that are going to be speaking and sharing their experiences. So, sometimes offering an honorarium for them to speak, on the documentary, kind of coordinating the schedules between every person that's involved in this project, logistically about the travel, logistically about housing, and logistically about like looking at the after the project is filmed and editing it and putting it all together, and getting all these moving parts in one to create a fluid piece.
And it's not only that aspect. I feel like this campaign just is just important to have, period, because
Right. I think
Go
when you
ahead.
talk about that, like offering of the Manhood Mondays, and that sort of like kind of ties into that a bit. Like getting everyone to like have a conversation more so than anything, so that it's open. It's like it's not just one thing or the other. It's like it's the conversation that everyone has a part of and can speak about.
David, you were going to add to that?
I kind of want to take the conversation in a bit of a different direction, if I may, only because I feel that the importance of this crowdfunding campaign in particular is because it's very hard to garner funds for a project like this. Though, I mean, I feel like we've talked about this before, but though, the bisexual community is more than half of the LGBT community, it is really hard to get funding for bisexual projects. So I feel like just, this project in particular is really giving voice to the bisexual, especially the fluid bisexual man, Black man in particular. And I just feel that more of these spaces are needed. So I'm hoping that this can be the beginning of that space being formed and created, so that more of these like pieces along these lines can be funded easier. That's just me.
Yeah, I think most people, when they think about bisexuals, they think of bisexuals as a privileged class of folks who don't need or require the same kind of support financially, or the same kind of supportive media that gays and lesbians have. When in actuality, bisexual people are more likely to be parents than gay men and lesbian women. And so there are some unique needs in terms of parenting and childcare, and particularly when you add Black on top of that, that people have needs that need to be addressed. Bisexual youth are more likely than other youth to experience dating violence, and to think, and are more likely to think about or attempt suicide. Black workers experience high levels of workplace discrimination. Bisexual people are more likely to live on less than $30,000 a year than anyone else. That includes gays and lesbians. Bisexual people are more likely than anyone else to live with anxiety and mood disorders, experience higher rates of intimate partner violence than gay and straight men and straight women. And they face higher rates of sexual assault as students than other students. So there are considerable health disparities, quality of life inequities that bisexuals experience on the whole. And then when you add the layer of being Black and male, it's even more so. I mean, Black men are 30 times more likely to die from heart disease. Percent more likely to die from stroke, and 9 times more likely to die from HIV than non-Hispanic white men. So there are significant disparities that exist for sexually fluid Black men that the media isn't paying attention to, that most LGBT organizations aren't paying attention to, that most Black organizations aren't paying attention to. So hopefully a film like this will address the lack of knowledge, the lack of awareness that that people in the communities, whether Black communities, LGBT communities, what have you, have about what it means to be at the intersection of Blackness, maleness, and sexual fluidity.
So, Glenn, Now that you're, I mean, I just wanted to swing it around to you. With these types of things that we're going to be tackling on, do you feel like there's a level of responsibility as a storyteller to make sure that, you know, all audiences have a broad understanding of this?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, when you can list all these things that um, that a person of color, a black male who's fluid, potentially is going through. Wait, can you go back to that question?
With all these issues, you know, do you feel the level, like, do you feel the level of responsibility so that all audience can understand this?
Yes. It's a responsibility that is weighted with a lot. And especially when, like, you know, there's not like the attention there to look on you to do that, right? So so yeah, I look forward to helping to make this a beautiful project. That's a very, very interesting question, David.
No, I mean, because the level of responsibility is definitely there, and I think it's there for all of us.
Right.
And you know, it's a new torch to bear because it's one that has not been really carried in a way before, and it's one that we get to almost be the pioneers in essence to, you know, bring this type of work to reality. And I feel that the story that we're sharing is one that is extremely unique, because it does come from the perspective of someone under so many different, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say like negative attributes attached to them. So being a black man and also being a bisexual man, there's already so many things that are counting against me versus pushing me forward. So hopefully this can propel other black men to be propelled forward in a positive direction.
And I think that one question that might be easier for Glenn at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Sorry.
It,
My apologies.
So deep. I'm like, yes, I love the deepness. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. I felt it, so I decided to ask the question. My fault. Sorry.
On a personal level, you have the opportunity to work on numerous projects. Why this one, and why now?
Why this one right now? Because it's not there. That's the story isn't out there. We had the opportunity to work on by the series, and you know, like as for myself, to whether or not like if I'm fluid, if I'm gay, don't know, right? But like to like I think if I was as a teenager, if I was growing up and I had this kind of film, this documentary, to alleviate some of those worries or to help answer some of the questions that I had for myself, yeah, it turned out pretty great. But like, but I think that like I think I would have walked around like even more confident as a teenager, knowing that like I wasn't sort of alone in my thought process. So like I think a lot of the work that I generally like to gravitate and do is like, you know, when we think about giving back, and it's really about giving back to the youth and to those people who, and not just the youth too at this point, because you know, a sexually fluid man might not just be young, he might be a really older guy, you know, and to give someone the permission to be themselves, I think that helps create a better world 10 times over, because I think like, you know, like if I am male, like if I'm comfortable and I'm who I am, then like when I approach another male, I'm approaching with a level of love and respect that might even like change the way that like we're looked upon in society. You know, like if we're so like, hey, we're so damned that like that we have gun violence and things like that. You know, some of that hurt, some of that pain, some of that can go away when we're actually walking in our power and we're who we are, no matter like where we are in any situation. So yes.
That reminds me of that quote, hurt people hurt people.
Right.
And so if we want to decrease the amount of violence that exists in in our communities, then part of it is helping people who are hurting heal that trauma and that woundedness in various ways. And so for sexually fluid Black men, part of that has been the trauma of not being believed, of being stigmatized, of being accused of giving Black women HIV, all of these kinds of things. And one of the things you talked about in terms of youth is anecdotally, we know that there are sexually fluid youth in mainstream LGBT organizations who get told on a regular basis that their being sexually fluid is a symptom of their not being comfortable with their sexuality, and that when they get older and become more mature, they'll make a choice, and that they'll come to see that they're really gay or lesbian. That has a significant impact upon the mental health of youth, because they're going to an organization that's supposed to be LGBT, supposed to be for them, set up for them, and yet they're being told by staff that, you actually are not where you need to be, that you're unhealthy because you claim and own your sexual fluidity.
I mean, well, the mission of this documentary is to eliminate that and to provide aid to the people that do identify as sexually fluid to have their voice finally. So at the end of the day, I feel like our mission is to make sure that these men have their voice, and hopefully that'll allow other people to find their voice as well.
So wanting to end with giving people the opportunity to contribute to the campaign. David, you want to tell people how they can get to the Indiegogo campaign and contribute?
They can just head over to Indiegogo.com, type in "No Homo, No Hetero," and the film comes right up at the top. There's many different perks that are available to you if you want to contribute. We only got a couple of days left, so whatever you can give, please. Thank you, and we appreciate all your support.
And we're trying to reach the 45K goal with the campaign before the campaign ends on Wednesday. For anyone who knows anything about filmmaking, 45K is a drop in the bucket for a film. So we really, really want and need folks to come out and contribute $1, $5, whatever it is that you can do to support this important and groundbreaking film. If you contributed before and you have a little bit more holiday cash on you wanna contribute in somebody's name, do that as a holiday gift. Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all those kinds of events. So thank you very much to everyone who has contributed to the campaign. We really, really appreciate the support. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to much success on the other side. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.